So you didn't think I was going to give up that easily, did you? No way. I wasn't going to end my season note of abject failure. I would have chewed it over all winter, it would have just eaten me up. No, so I'm going to have one last hurrah. So here I am on the River Tweed. Well, actually currently I'm above the River Ettrick, which flows into the Tweed just down there around the corner. So it's pretty much first light. It's about 7 AM. Last night Cara and I spent the night on the road. We drove over here, found somewhere quiet, parked up, had a lovely night in the van. And now I've got 2 days ahead of me. I'm fishing the Yair. It's had a few fish over the last the last week or so. It's the beginning of November. This is, like I said, this is the last hurrah. This is it for the season now. After this, I'm leaving the salmon alone to do what they've got to do. So it's Monday today. There was a big rise last week, in the middle of last week, a really big rise, and then it fined down again, and then there's been a couple of rises, like smaller rises since. The Ettrick certainly looks like it's got an extra couple of feet in what it would normally have. And it's got some flow to that river, like it's actually quite intimidating. So there's a lot of rain forecast today. I'm hoping it's not going to come. I'm hoping there's just going to be like a meteorological miracle and it just will pass us by and won't raise the level anymore, because I'm fishing tomorrow as well. So if it stays like this, great. I hope it doesn't rain on the, because I don't want to get wet today either. So let's get down to business. This is a new river, so we'll give it a drink. Obviously I'm dosing both the Ettrick and the Tweed here because they're going to flow together just around the corner. I actually missed the river then, hit a bush. There we go. Right, that's for you, Tweed. To the spirit of the salmon, to the spirit of the Tweed, to the spirit of the Ettrick water. That's smoky, that one. Here we are at the fishing hut, hopefully. I have to say there's no signage at all within the estate, so I assume I'm in the right estate, and I assume that's the fishing hut where I'm meant to be meeting. So here's the river, and it's obviously, it's got a bit of water in it, but God, it looks nice. Like, I was a little bit worried that it was going to be too high, but this is the same height that they've been catching fish at. And before, as soon as I got here, I just saw a big silver salmon jump over there about 100 yards upstream. And it was a big silver salmon as well, by the way. It wasn't a coloured fish at all. In a devastating news update, I've forgotten my sausages and my bacon, so I'm having to have a ham sandwich for breakfast. It's not the same. Here we go, the River Tweed. This is exciting. The Gilly Allen was a lovely man, and there's going to be no wading today, but at least my waders might keep me half dry. So the level on the gauge is 2'3". It's apparently fishes well at this height, but only obviously in certain pools that fish at high water, and ones that you can fish off the bank. But there seems to be plenty of water to fish, so even though I'm not going to be able to get in and cover all the pools, that's fine. So here's the setup for today. I've obviously got my 13.5 foot ultralight. I've got my new Cascapedia reel on there, very nice, and I've got a new line. So I went back to see Grant at Rod and Tackle in Cramlington. There's a plug for you, Grant. And basically I've been struggling with that Hardy rocket line. I think it's just been a bit too heavy with it being an intermediate. So I've got on here a Rio Outbound Scandi floating line, so hopefully that's going to make casting a lot easier. It has felt like I've been sort of struggling uphill a little bit, and I don't think like that line was particularly well matched to the rod. I've got a fast sinking tip on 7 inch per second, and I've got a gold and black like willy gun type tube. Nice flow in the water. I'll try not to slip down from the banks. Carla's fishing. Aren't you fishing, Carla? We're going to fish right in here because the fish that I've seen this morning have been lying right in the bank. Oh, it's beautiful, like, it's just such a nice estate as well. That's the thing about salmon fishing, it doesn't have to take you to some beautiful places. Oh, wow, look, there's a running fish. Look how coloured that fish is though. What's the chance we'll put it on its nose? That fish was almost red. It looked like a Pacific salmon. So my initial impressions of this line are that it's a dream to cast. It's so much easier than that rocket taper intermediate that I had on before. Oh, it's lovely. It's just so nice and so easy. So what I was finding before when I was using the intermediate, the last time I fished on the Tyne to make the cast work, I was having to expend an awful lot of energy. And I also hated the way that all the different components of the line, the running line, the head, all had like joins. Oh, that's so easy. So they were catching the rod rings and just taking all the energy off the casts. Whereas obviously this is a one-piece line, so it doesn't have any connections. Much better. Nice. Didn't expect to see the football floating down the river. Alright, so I've tied a dropper on here just because I'm a fisherman with a fly that I've never fished with before, so I don't have full confidence in it, even though it is the gilly suggestion. I just feel happy if I've got one of my more successful claret flamethrowers on here. So we'll persist with this, but we'll have the addition of this. And I'm picking leaves up every time I swing into this right bank here, which unfortunately is where I've seen all the fish, so I'm trying to get as close to it as I can. Come on, little fishes. Come on, little fishes. Come on. Where I have seen the fish, it's been right on the margins, like. And the gilly did say that. He says basically the fast stream in the middle stirs up all the silt and pushes the fish to the sides. We've got loads of leaves on the line again. You're all wet. You look like a beaver. You look like a beaver. Oh, we've had no fish in action this morning, haven't we? We've had no fish action today. So I've just been dropped off at the duck pool, which looks enormous. and it's got some ducks in it, so that's fitting. So it's the afternoon session now. See how we get on. It's definitely a little bit less windy here, which is nice. So my instructions are to fish the margins. Fish could be anywhere, forget about lies, because with the water being up they're going to be spread out. But he says just make sure you fish the margins. Here comes the rain again, great. So yeah, I must admit I'm not as enthusiastic as I usually am whilst fishing. And I think it is because I might be a little bit fished out. So we are in November, and you know, it's been a long season, and I've invested a lot of emotion into my fishing this year. So there's been a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and it's been quite an exhausting process, to be honest. And I did put a lot of my life on hold whilst I went obsessively fishing, like 5 times a week. So yeah, before, when I was dealing with the wind and the leaves, I was questioning my my choices as to whether I should probably have just called it a day. The only problem is when I over the last couple of days of the season, I lost like 3 fish, and I couldn't stomach it. It was driving me nuts. Anyway, gotta concentrate. So let's get some line out. It's a lot easier to cast here. Come on, little fishes. Come on, little fishes. Hello there. Well, that was a really hard day's fishing. There was loads of wild wind, the river was 2 feet up, there was millions of leaves in the water. Oh, it was really frustrating. And obviously there was no wading today, so it was all bank fishing, and casting off the banks horrendous. So yeah, it was just such a hard day's fishing. I've got to be honest, it feels a bit wrong. It feels like I probably should have just given up on the last day of the season at home and called it a day. I'm not sure about the whole November fishing thing. I understand the argument you probably should be leaving the fish alone by now, just to do what they've got to do. That being said, I have seen a couple of fresh fish today. I saw one fresh sea trout later on, and the first fish I saw this morning was a fresh salmon. But I don't know, it felt a bit dirty. It felt a bit like addict behaviour, to be honest. It felt like I should have left it, and that I shouldn't really be here, and that I'm not really, my heart wasn't fully in it. Obviously it was a difficult day casting, really struggling away with the wind. I've enjoyed my new line, but you know, the wind today was so strong that even if you like absolutely ping a cast out, there's some of them just like blew around behind them and went literally nowhere, even though I caught it perfectly sweet. Anyway, that's just the way it is. So yeah, it feels a bit like addict behaviour, and it feels like I ought to have let it go. But you know what, I'm just gonna I'm gonna have a drink and something to eat and a good night's sleep, and I'll try again tomorrow. You know, it's that very short days here, so the morning session was gone in the blink of an eye, and then the afternoon session was gone in the blink of an eye. I think there's 6 rods on here tomorrow, like, so it's gonna be a bit fun, because there's not that much. Obviously, with the river being so high, the amount of water is reduced, so that's gonna have to be shared around between all these 6 rods. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I'll have a few dangles tomorrow, but I'm not really worried. I'm in half a mind just to go home tonight, to tell you the truth, but I'll stick it out tomorrow. I did have a pull right at the very end there, just as I was fishing through the boat pool again, just before I packed it up for the day. So I'd switched onto a little red Francis, and I was just bouncing that down the very, very margins, and as I was stripping it back, then I got a little bang, 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 little inquiries. And like I said, my game's not super sharp today. My head hasn't been in it. I haven't been concentrating all day long, really. So when that came, I don't know, I wasn't in the right place to deal with it properly, and I think I probably struck too fast. I didn't let it have it, to be honest. So hopefully tomorrow I might have a bit more success. I'm not too bothered either way. I'm really not. You know what, I've had a good season, and like I say, I probably should have called it. I probably should have called it on the 31st of October. And now it's raining now, and there's going to be some rain tomorrow. So yeah, I had a right good soaking at the end of the day there. So yeah, it serves me right. I'm just going for a light dinner this evening. I'm just going to make myself a little bit of mushroom soup. Just take it easy and have a light meal, I think. Good morning. So that was an interesting evening. I actually had a funny dream last night. I dreamt about the spirit of the salmon. It actually talked to me in my dreams. So what he said, and it was a he said that it's okay to fish for salmon in November. In the beginning of November it's fine, and that really not to worry about things like that, because you know what it is, life after all is just a game, and the catching of salmon is just a game. It's like, you know what, sometimes they're going to choose you, sometimes they're not. So you can fish away and you can fish away, and you can thrash the water and you can cover ground and fish different rivers. But if the salmon doesn't want to choose your fly, it doesn't want to choose your fly. So let's go fishing today with a clear conscience, and hopefully I get myself into the right frame of mind and have an enjoyable last day on the water. This is definitely my last day on the water. I'm very happy to be hanging my rod up at the end of the year. I've enjoyed my first year very much, and I already can't wait till next year. So as soon as February the 1st rolls around, I'm going to be out there on the Tyne chasing a springer. So the river's gone right up overnight. It's obviously had a dump of water into it from upstream. So look, it's over 3 feet on the gauge here, and it actually looks like it's rising. It's very coloured as well now, so basically it looks like fishing job's knackered. But that's fine. It's not the end of the world. So I think what we'll do today is we'll just go for a walk, Carl and I. So I'll have a walk up to the top of the beat, And then just I'm going to put this thing on, super heavy carrot job, and we'll just drop that into the margins, and who knows. But yeah, basically we're not really worried about fishing today. Just going to walk up to the gate and I'll dabble along the edge, and that'll do me.
But there's another two that could appear, but they'll maybe just not come out.
Yeah, they probably would be here, but if I was fishing, I'd be here by now. Do you know what I mean?
They likely would have been. It's only 8:30, right? But a lot of them 9. Right. Back at 9 when they come.
Oh, I'm an early birdie 6. I'm a baker by trade.
I'm usually here for 8:30, like you can. A lot of them don't come till after 9, like you can. 9 o'clock I'll back at, you can. Back at 9. So I usually give them till 10 to come. But I didn't give much hope for it today. It's worse today than it was yesterday, right now.
It was 3'4" or 3'3" on that gauge there.
What is it?
3'3".
3'3", yeah. Well, you see, it was 4'8".
Wow.
At the Cook. It was 3'8" at the Cook and 4'8" at Peebles. This morning it would 3:30.
Right.
I know that has to come down here, like, you know.
And where does that water come from?
Right away up in Tweed's Muir, right away up at the top of the Tweed. The Tweed starts above Tweed's Muir. The source of the River Tweed is on the road from the Peebles Road, goes right away up over the hill and back down into Moffat. So if you come from Moffat to come up over there, you get the source of the River Tweed. There's a little sign on the side of the road on a black thing. That's the source of the River Tweed. It's just a bog there. It's just a bog where it comes out of the springs and things like that again. And by the time it gets down, the Cook gauge is at the Cook Hotel. That's Cook measurement spot. And that's the first gauge on it, yeah. And then after that, the next one's Peebles. So it's Cook, Peebles, and then Bullside, well, here. But ours aren't on the Tweed system.
Right.
There, the Cook, Peebles, Bullside, and so on further down.
So how far is Bullside from here then?
Oh, it's, what about, I would say 2 miles, maybe.
Right.
You can do there, over the bridge and turn sharp right and making through to the A7. And just as you're looking at the A7, Bullside starts at the meetings where the exit comes into it.
That's me done fishing. I did enjoy having a little dabble this morning, but I'm just going to get down the road before it gets dark. I've had a nice enough time. It's been good to exercise the demons. I actually feel at peace now with the whole salmon fishing situation. I can put to bed my failures on the last couple of days, which is okay with me, because I was tuning over, like it was just thing. I didn't want to end on that note. So at least I've rolled the dice again, and you know what it is. I think you've got to remember when you're fishing, you've got to go fishing. You don't get obsessed with catching fish, which for a small portion of time I think I was probably concentrating more on the fish than the fishing. And I just need to remember. And I think it took me this little trip to come and spend some time on this river. And to just remind me that it's all about the fishing. It's all about being in different places. It's all about visiting different beats, meeting different gillies and different other rods that you get talking to, and it's just a really good experience. So it's lovely to be out in new places and take rivers off. So would I come back here? Maybe. So the practicalities today's fishing are that it was £60 for a day. So obviously I had 2 days, and it's reasonable value for back end fishing. Now it was interesting talking with Alan the Gilly. He's saying that this is the best back end they've had for years. He's seen a lot more fish through the autumn than he has for a lot of years, so that's encouraging. And I've seen plenty of fish. Like there's fish moving all over the place, and not only that, there's been a couple of clean fish. Well, actually more than a couple. There's some nice like silver fish, particularly sea trout, I think, which is encouraging to see. So yeah, I probably will give this beat a roll in the future. You know, it's not too far from home for me, and it's not too expensive. So yeah, I don't know whether I'll be fishing in November again though. Probably not. So if I am here, it'll probably be October. I think I will leave October fishing in the future. It was just because, to be honest, I got a little bit obsessed with the salmon fishing, and I think I should have just left it alone. But you know, you've got to experience these things to find out. It's very frustrating fishing in November, obviously, because there's wind and there's cold and there's leaves and there's more rain, So yeah, it's a pity you can't just get the rain and measure it out throughout the year. Just ration it out so that so there's always fish. But anyway, I'm going to get on the road. It's been an unusual adventure, in that nothing much has happened really. But I'm very raring to go next year. I'm going to close the door on salmon fishing now. I'm happy to just leave it alone. Like I say, I've exercised the demon, and I feel a lot better about it now, and I can't wait till next year. So come February, I can't wait to be out looking for springers, and I'm really looking forward next year to fishing the Tyne. So I'm going to fish more and more on the Tyne next year, because I think I don't know, there's certain rivers talk to you, and I think that the Tyne, parts of the Tyne really talk to me. And it's nice to have like a nice big wide river. The Coquet's amazing, but sometimes you just want to go into a nice big stretch of water and cast, and you know, just wade. I like wading as well. So yeah, so the Tyne is definitely something, a river I'm going to be fishing a lot more next year. But until then, I'm not even going to think about fishing. I'm going to put all my stuff away, and I'm going to get on with some other things, because apparently there's more to life than fishing. So let's go and find out. Thanks for joining me on this one, and we'll see you in some sort of video again soon, I'm sure. But we won't be fishing again until February, like everybody else. So anyway, take it easy, cheers, thanks for watching. Like it if you like it, subscribe if you haven't, etc, etc, etc. Bye bye.